I need you to go back to your seat. Why are you recording? You want your seat? I'm sorry. No. Everybody else in their seat. Let's see who else. This is T. Just one of those days that a girl goes through when she angry inside. Don't want to take it out on you. Yes, one of those days where I overused my voice box for some hard-headed ass kids. I decided to come on today because, and even though my voice isn't the best, I know that my life can get a little busy and sometimes I can get so caught up in my own world and I'll be having a lot of downloads and a lot of information and I don't want to forget about it. So I try to get it out as soon as it comes in, because like I said, I always want to bless others with information that they may not know. Some people may have their own journey in life and, they may experience some things that's similar to what I experienced and it may be totally different. But the reason my spirit was led to make a video today is because I was really pushed to the wall today. I don't know if the students are so excited because of Thanksgiving and they're going to be out of school. I don't know what's going on. But we had a staff meeting. It's called a threat assessment drill or meeting. That's what it was called, threat assessment meeting. And so basically, this is where the teachers come in and the AP discuss some of the things that they have been seeing and observing around the school that could be a potential concern. And basically, they want the teachers to make a change in whatever's going on, right? And so before I dive into what was said in this meeting, because I became the main topic, I do want to say this to parents and upcoming teachers. I do want to say this. When you get one part of the information about the public school system, and maybe I had my own perception and my own thought process of how school is supposed to be ran and how the students are supposed to act. I'm thinking, okay, that's the way it is. But just know, for parents, when you drop your children off to school, especially if they're well over third grade, know that they're going to be exposed to information that you may potentially not be, you may not be ready for them to be exposed to. Just know that when you ask your child, how was your day? They're going to give you a surface level response. They're not going to go in details. And of course we know this because we used to be children ourselves. But to me, I guess I'm more shocked because, okay, let me go all the way. Let me go back a little bit. I went to college to be an educator for primary students. So I did not want to do anything beyond third grade. I felt like that's more my speed. And, I have a little bit more fun. It's not as much pressure. It's going to be stressful. Ain't no way around that in any age group when you're teaching. But I just feel like anything from first to third, I can deal with that. I know how to handle certain challenges, challenging behaviors. Apparently, they really needed some help at the school and they needed a fourth grade teacher. I honestly believe that they needed a police officer. They needed somebody who used to be a sergeant in the Army. I don't think this school need any regular teachers at all because these are not regular children. Just know your child may potentially get caught up in a situation where you didn't even think that your child would be caught up in. I had to write 10 referrals in 2 days. That is not normal. At least for me, that's not normal. I rarely had to write referrals when I had to work with children third grade and below. Rarely. I would have a little talk with the parents. It would be, handled right then, and that's it. But because they were short a fourth grade teacher, I said, okay, why not take on the challenge and get a little experience and see what it's all about? Now, I did expect challenges. I did expect some craziness because this is pretty much a 94% African-American school. So we already know it's going to be some crazy stuff that take place and a lot of people trying to compete for attention. It just makes it harder when, okay, I'm already taking a pay cut by choice because I did not want to be in a situation, I was living in Tampa, they pay more, but I wanted a change in my life and I did not want to be caught up in a lot of drama with my ex and stuff like that. So I said, okay, I'll just move on up north and try to see if I can have a better experience, right? So I took a major pay cut out of my pay because, that's just it. That's how it is. The smaller cities and towns, they don't pay as much as bigger cities, right? And then they're telling me when they hired me that, okay, originally I was applying for a younger group of kids, but they already filled that spot right as soon as I was coming in. So they just kind of asked me to just do fourth grade. Then they tell me in order for me to get my regular high pay that that I was getting paid in Tampa, I got to go and call all the schools to prove that I have teaching experience. Now, why do they ask you to write a reference letter? Why do they ask you for your employment history on your resume? I don't understand why that is not sufficient enough to show your teaching experience, but apparently for this county, they want you to do the legwork, okay? So I get into school. I wasn't aware that I was going to be teaching 3 blocks. So total, each block, I am responsible for close to 20 students, a little bit over 20 in one of the blocks. I wasn't aware that I was going to be responsible for a lot of the school supplies. I wasn't aware that I had to provide my own copy paper because some of the parents wasn't able to afford to get school supplies. And the school is on a very, very tight budget. So that makes it even more challenging because when everything is in place, then everything can run smoothly, right? Okay. I wasn't aware that at least 80% of my students will be insufficient in reading. I wasn't aware that at least more than 10 of them are retained students and have been retained more than once. I didn't know a lot of them have some type of learning disability that they haven't even documented in the system yet for us to be prepared for, right? And so now I can move a little bit forward to the threat assessment meeting, okay? So as I sit through this meeting and I hear, somebody express all of their concerns about, oh, I walked in the hallway and I seen some students in the hallway and they were not supervised. I said to myself, okay, so this is more like what teachers need to do, not what admin can provide or what they can do because based on my knowledge, admin have teaching experience. Admin already have the education and the knowledge to know how to have certain things in place, right? But apparently we're supposed to be teachers. We're supposed to be responsible for not only teaching and providing supplies and trying to manage the classroom behavior, but we're also supposed to be like the extra surveillance deputy security guard type of people. And that's why I said to myself, it doesn't seem like regular people that really genuinely care about the children's education. That is not it's not working like it used to be back in the 90s and the 80s and stuff like that. These children are coming in broken. They're coming in very, they already got trauma that we're not even equipped to deal with, okay? A lot of these kids come into the classroom full of anger because maybe their daddy locked up in prison, or maybe the daddy slapped the mama upside the head and they tired of seeing it, or maybe the mama slapped the daddy upside the head and they tired of seeing the drama. Or the mama got about 5 kids from different daddies and can't even manage half of them because she's trying to keep up with the daddies. So we got kids coming into the school with all these type of issues. But then when we sign up, people like me sign up thinking that all we got to do is really focus on providing the students with the academic what word I want to say? Academic, supporting their needs. I'll put it that way. Facilitating their needs. Now we're being pulled to do other stuff, right? Since I've been at the school, all I've been hearing is paperwork, competition, paperwork, competing against the other schools in the county, trying to look the best, trying to achieve a score, trying to achieve a goal. So what? Like, how is trying to make your school a B-rated school going to help these struggling students that have been retained? How some of these students going home to an empty refrigerator. Some of these students don't even want to be home because they've been abused and molested and too scared to speak up about it. Like, I think we got our priorities all jacked up. Okay, so let me tell you how my name became the topic. Okay, so I am normally the one that just teach science and social studies. The person that teach math, he's out on, his own personal leave. Then the person that teach reading, she's out on her own personal leave. So that just leaves me and maybe some subs that pop in and pop out. So I'm being told that, I see how you needed some help, Ms. Brown. Well, what the hell you think? I got 60 kids and half of them got mental issues and different disorders. And they're telling me, I see you needed help, but I'm sorry, I couldn't get there. So out of all the kids, we got 5 girls that's trying to plot to jump on each other. I don't break up fights. Hey, if you're going to give me deputy pay, I'll break up every fight I see. Then I got another student that comes up to me. No, let me tell you why he came up to me. He came up to me because when he got into my classroom, he just started running around, almost like a kid that ate a whole bag of Sour Patch candy, just running around, doing laps. And I was like, why are you the only one in here running around like this is PE? And I'm not a PE teacher. And so he ignored me, but after a while, I said, you know what? I'll just get the referral ready. So as soon as I started pulling out the referral, then he jumps on top of the desk and then get into his seat real quick. So that's supposed to be, I guess, good enough where I should be good. Be happy that he did get to his seat. Okay, so he jumps up out of his seat after I start the lesson. And he started to come up to the front. And I'm like, I need you to sit down. I'm trying to take attendance. I don't need you getting up out your seat. And then he's like, what you mean? You can't tell me what to do. And then he started balling up his fist at me, bucking up like he wants to punch me because I'm telling him to go sit down like everybody else in the classroom, right? Now, from what I heard, this particular kid is related to the principal. So apparently, this is a monster that was already created because remember, they got to go through kindergarten, first, second, third, then they get to me, right? So it had to be some problems already that existed before he even got to me and before I even got there. But I'm being told in this threat assessment meeting that I gotta get my classroom management under control. Now, tell me, maybe y'all can help me out. If I got 5 kids that got issues, that been having issues way before I came into the picture, issues in first, second, third, and then the rest of my students, now I told you I got 20 per block, so 5, so that's pretty much 15 students sitting down, following directions, being respectful, and ready to go, ready to learn. How is that not having classroom management? Tell me why their behaviors, my little 5-finger friends, tell me why that haven't been nipped in the butt before I even came on the scene. Tell me why there's no type of behavior plan in place. Do you know that when I got there, I am the one that got these kids signed up for counseling? You mean to tell me the whole time they was there, they was being ignored and nobody couldn't see these kids needed help? Like, really? But then they telling me my classroom manager, no, let me tell you the funny part. Let me tell you the funny part. They tell me that I need to give them more work. Yes, I need to put a package together, be like a drill sergeant, don't really teach and explain much to them, and be cold and hard. I'm talking about the kids that's already mentally going through something, mentally and emotionally going through something, that I can't even get them to do 1 page with 3 questions. You got to read a passage and answer 3 questions based on the passage you read. The answer right there. And I got to take almost an hour to get them to do that. An hour. So I have tried the timer. I have tried the threats. I've tried the phone calls. I've set up conferences. Half of the parents don't even want to give out a real phone number. I had one parent block the school number because she created a darn Chucky and don't want to deal with it. She feels like we getting paid to deal with it, so we can't even call to complain about it. Okay, so this is the part that's a trip. When I think about the word parent, actually, this is what I am talking to my kids about, teaching my kids today in social studies. I was teaching them about how the Great Depression really affected the economy centuries ago, which I know they care less. But I try to get them to relate to it because I'm like, okay, listen, a lot of these people, depended on the government. They depended on jobs to survive. And a lot of them had to rent their homes. They didn't have enough money to buy their homes, especially when the stock market crashed, right? And so a lot of people was evicted. A lot of people was homeless. A lot of people was living in poverty. They were hungry. They were frustrated. They had students that went to school that were passing out because they didn't get enough eat. They didn't get enough food. We had babies dying. Now, that part don't make too much sense to me, because I feel like a baby should still have access to the mama breast milk. But if the mama is lacking nutrients because of the lack of food, then yeah, that's possible. Then that's different. But I'm trying to get these kids to understand, the process. And I explained to them what it was like. Well, what is tenant and what is rent? And I explained to them. I said, okay, well, a lot of people can't afford to buy a house based on credit, based on their income. And these are things that this should be taught in schools, but I feel like I'm the only one that be bringing it up. I'm the only one that be talking about some real life relatable stuff. And I said, if your credit is not the best because you done splurged and messed it up on credit cards and whatever, who knows what, and you don't have the money to buy a home, then a lot of people have to depend on renting. And once you rent a home, you've been approved to rent a home, then you become a tenant. And so when I explained all the details of what a tenant is and how you rent a home and how a lot of people still go through challenges with renting, because now you are taking a chance on renting somebody else's property. And then if they decide to sell it, then that puts you in a bind, especially if it's in a very unexpected moment where they want to sell. And so I explained to the kids, so renting is just having something temporarily. You can rent a car, you can rent a house, you can rent a TV. It's just having something temporarily. And I said, and then when you look at the word parent, I said, your parents are basically temporarily renting you until you turn 18. So your parents are responsible for you to go to school. That is a part of the agreement. Once your parents get your birth certificate and the social security card, they are agreeing to putting you in the hands of the government. So the minute they F up and they don't follow through, then the government step in. That's when you get CPS services trying to find out why your child ain't going to school. That's when you get situations where, okay, you don't qualify for food stamps if you are doing fraud. And then if you don't get no food and you ain't feeding your kids, then they consider that neglect. And then that's another reason for CPS to come in. Or when you don't have shelter, or adequate living arrangement, or a stable household, that is when the CPS can come in and tell you how to run your household. Now it's to the point where CPS can come in and tell you who you can love and who you can date and who you can have living in your household. So a lot of these guys out here don't have the best background. And so if CPS find out that somebody is unhealthy living in your household, they're going to be looking at, okay, well, because you got this man in your household, we want the best for your children. So we're going to remove your children because you got this man. So you got to choose between your kids and this man. And so they make it to where people are stuck in between the rock and the hard place. They really do. And that's where it goes back to my job. Like, you hire me to do a specific job, but then you hide all the little hidden stuff that don't even make sense. Like, you didn't tell me I got to be a counselor and teach. You didn't tell me I got to be a deputy and teach, because they only got one deputy on campus. Now, this is elementary to middle school with one deputy on campus. And then all the other people that's supposed to be in charge, like the APs, they're being pulled left and right, trying to break up fights over here. One time, the deputy had to pepper spray a couple of students because of a fight that wouldn't stop. Okay? Then I'm being told by the other students that they're afraid to go see the principal, because some of them related to the principal, because she's allowed to jack them up. She's allowed to use slight corporal punishment because they're related. But then I'm being told in the threat assessment meeting that when they come in the classroom, we know that the kids gonna get sit down and do what they're supposed to do, but we want them to be able to do that when we ain't done. But then you need to take them with you. You need to take the ones that act a fool and don't want to listen, don't have no respect, and the mamas don't want to have nothing to do with them when they in our care. You need to take them to your office until I'm done teaching. That's what I really want to say. But I just kind of cleaned it up and said, well, we can't work miracles, because this is a problem that was escalating since first, second, and third. And then they'd expect us to come in and work a miracle. So to me, some telling me I need to leave this alone, because I tell you, I ain't going to have too many times for a child to act like they're going to punch me because I'm trying to keep them safe. I ain't gonna have too many times where I have a child trying to tell me, call me a bitch, or I'm getting on their fucking nerve because I'm trying to get you to the next level. Do you know And they don't know no better. I know they can't help it because it's learned behavior. They're angry. They're angry at their parents, and they come to school and take it out on us. Because there's one parent that came to the conference talking about, my child don't eat medication because I got a belt. Okay, how many times you had to beat your child, and tell me how many times you still had to come up here to the school? Okay, so it just bothers me because I know I'm not the only one when I talk about this stuff, that people will try to find a reason to blame somebody else instead of looking at the deeper picture, the root of the issue. It need to be a whole lot of psychiatric teachers, licensed teachers, or it need to be deputies that become teachers, or it need to be Army officials, because these kids will try to fight you. These kids want to do different things to push you to the limit because they know we're not allowed to beat them like their parents. We're not allowed to jack them up like a cousin or auntie can in the front office. You know what I mean? So it's like, I just never seen anything crazy like this exist. And then the whole time, we supposed to put a lesson plan together. I know what I'm doing. I can teach without opening the book. I know exactly what I'm doing. And these kids gonna get some out of it. I don't care if it's one little word. They gonna get some out of what I'm talking about. So trying to tell me to print out a whole package so the kids can sit there and ball it up and play and draw and doodle on it, I'm not gonna waste my time like that. Oh no. I didn't go to school for all the years that I went to go to school to come to some BS advice like this. That don't make no damn sense. And then they say, oh, well, I've been teaching for almost 30-some years. Okay, well, the 80s and the 70s ain't like what the 2000s, the new millennium students. I'm so into my feelings about the situation. It's messing up my words when I'm trying to get my point across. You cannot compare. You ain't had no computers back then. I had my students get on computers, and I said, I need you to only focus on this website. Do not go on anything else but this website. Soon as I walk away, we got people looking up, oh Lord, rap songs, how to, the whoop-de-doo dance, people trying to look up what they want for Christmas, people doing every single thing but going on the website I told them to go on. So, and I need them to go on the website because that's part of a grade. So that's just a new F. And the kids are so accustomed to failing to where it's like, a F? What's that? What that gonna do? I can make another one if you want me to. Because there's no discipline at home. So there's no equal balance. If it's unbalanced, you can't expect a child to function the normal way. Okay? I can't say it's fully all the parents' fault either, because we were duped. A lot of the Native Americans, Black people, we were duped. We didn't know that joining in the government ideas just so we cannot fight war, because we got tired of dealing with that shit. We didn't know that it was going to cause them to pretty much take advantage of us to the point where now we got to answer to them. Now we got to depend on them for food. Now we got to depend on them to find a place to live. Do you know? And that's another thing I was telling my parents, my students. I said, look, I used to own a house in Tallahassee, and this is my house, right? I had to go out of town, to travel alone because of employment and personal reasons, falling behind somebody. And because we did not cut the grass grew up probably up to our knees. The city decided to charge us. And because we wasn't getting the mail due to somebody, we depended on, and just they couldn't even do something simple as that. They couldn't give us the mail right, and they didn't even pay the rent right. It caused us to be owed $10,000 because we didn't keep our grass cut. The government gonna find a way to take control, to take advantage of people, and they want you to shut up and deal with it. That's it. Shut up and deal with it. But when everybody is okay with dealing with it all at one time, it's just gonna be an ongoing shit show. It's not going to be any changes. No. As long as we okay with the government creating these school systems, which is one student was like, are we in prison? I said, pretty much so. I ain't gonna lie. This is like a preschooling prison. Preschooling prison for people to know how to be obedient so it can make the government job easier to manipulate us. When you start speaking out, start putting your foot down, start standing for what's right and fair, the government don't want to hear shit like that. They want things to be unfair. They can't even do a darn election without somebody cheating for some votes. The simplest thing. You can't even count the votes fairly. So how do you expect the government to be fair about everything else they created? They created the school system. They forced religion on us. Yes, the government got something to do with that. That don't have nothing to do with the ancestors. The ancestors, they did not try to cut our neck off because we didn't want to bow down and call Jesus' name. They did not try to do that to us. That's government situations, but they use different names and they change it as time go on. That's another thing too. Even with our race, You know, we got the kids calling each other black and white. I'm like, y'all need to cut that shit out. Nobody ain't black in here. Nobody do not look like my truck tires. Nobody in here look like some white chalk. So why are we calling each other black and white? So what do you call an interracial baby? You call them gray? Because in my mind, if I mix black paint and white paint together, I get gray. So what we calling the kids gray? Because when I look at a mixed kid, I mean, they look khaki color to me. So to me, there's a lot of BS that don't make no sense. And unfortunately, I got sucked up in it, but I'm gonna get myself out of this one way or another. I am not going to leave this earth stressed out behind some government BS. And at the end of the day, they don't care if you stay or go because you just another number they're gonna replace. As long as you are working, because we are property of the government. That's why I said your parents F up, then the government getting involved. If you get hurt, they gonna make sure they look out for you because they want you to keep bringing them money. Okay? So I'm gonna leave it here, y'all. Just keep that in mind. When you send your kids to school, if they're older or they're beyond 3rd grade, start talking to them about sex. You might as well, because I'm telling you, I don't know how many 4th graders I got walking around talking about they smashed this girl, smashed that girl. Talk to them about getting caught up in fights. These boys, they're not worth fighting over. Boys barely fight over girls. I'm just saying. When they're young, they barely fight over girls. They're just enjoying the fact that all these girls liking them and thinking they're cute. And the attitude stinks. So if your attitude stinks, you look like your attitude. Talk to them about the importance of academics. Yes, we can survive without the schooling system, but you got to figure out how to beat the system. If you're not going to stay home and homeschool your child, if you're not going to put them on photo virtual, then you need to have some money sitting and waiting on them, because this system got them all jacked up. You send them through a school system, they go to college, they create debt, they got to pay it back and some more stuff. So you need to educate these kids because they taking it for a joke. Don't let them waste your time going to spend almost $2,000 on some school shoes, some Jordan, and a brand new phone, and they come to school. Then you got to get up out your bed 5, 6 o'clock in the morning for them to come to school and act a fool, and then they get labeled. Like, really? Do you really want that in your life? So you really, really need to keep that in mind. And it's gonna take teamwork. You can't be sitting up there talking about you gonna pray the demon out of your child. No, it takes more than that. You can't sit there and say it's the teacher's responsibility. No, it takes more than that. And you better hope that your child got a teacher that's wrapped tight in the head. Because I seen a teacher jack a child up, and they was not related. I almost got scared. I ain't even know what to do with that. I'm like, oh snap, we jacking up kids now? But I kind of understand, because now we got students trying to fight the teachers. So please, if you can't take anything else, I can't remember all the stuff I shared with you. It takes teamwork. Be more attentive to what your child is doing in school and who they are hanging around. We're losing too many girls to the statistics of teen pregnancy and high school dropout. We're losing too many boys and too many young men to joining in gangs, and they're losing their lives trying to be obedient to grown people. You know what I mean? So they need to understand self-love. They need to know that their parents love them, even if you effed up, even if you accidentally got pregnant because you was drunk and hot. These kids need to know that they got a purpose. And when you create and raise broken kids, then these are kids that's going into our society broken. And then we have a whole lot of issues going on. Then we got adults coming to shoot up the school because they mad because they don't know whether they want to be straight or gay. You know, we creating broken people for our society. And I know I can't be the only one that see it. I just know. I know I can't be. Unless I'm just from a different planet. I don't need you agreeing. I'm going to leave it here, y'all. Just continue to do the best you can. Keep that positive energy going, no matter how hard it is. And remember, the stronger we are together, the better the outcome. Peace out.